These days, there's a wide choice in the frozen seafood we can eat. Frozen prawns, frozen fish fillets, and a variety of coated seafood. I really like fish fingers, especially the haddock ones. The basic principles in producing oven-ready fish in batter, breaded fish fingers, fish cakes and scampi are all the same. In this short programme, I'll show you how seafood is coated by looking at the production of traditional breaded scampi and fish in batter. Later we'll look at fish cake production as well. Let's start by looking at the raw materials, either frozen fish fillets or scampi pieces. In this case, both have been bought in from an outside supplier. The fish and shellfish have to be separated from each other, either by hand or mechanically, so that they don't touch. The conveyor system takes the pieces into the first stage, where they pass through a cascade of batter, which coats them on top and on the bottom. After this first application of batter comes a shower of specially formulated crumb. An excess of crumb coats the pieces on the top and forms a layer underneath. For both of these products, a pressure roller applies a slight pressure to make sure the crumb is pressed firmly onto the fish fillet or scampi piece. Stage 2 is a repeat of stage 1, more batter and more crumb. The batter in this stage may be slightly thinner or thicker than stage 1, and the crumb is often different. It's common for this final crumb layer to have a larger particle size and to be formulated for oven baking or frying. Any excess crumb is shaken off before the pieces go onto the fryer or the freezer. The makeup of this final layer can have a major impact on the appearance of the finished product once it's cooked. The fish fillets don't go through a final crumb, as they are fish in batter. If there were place goujons, they would have a final coat of crumb. Now that the individual pieces have been coated, it is usual to fix the coating in place by flash frying. Flash frying is carried out very quickly so that the fish and scampi do not start to thaw in their coating. They are only in the fryer for around 30 to 45 seconds at a temperature of about 190 degrees Celsius, just long enough and hot enough to cook the batter and crumb in place. Sometimes though, an uncooked finished product is needed, as in the case of these scampi pieces. The production line has been set up with extra conveyors to bypass the fryer so that they go straight into the freezer, where they will stay for about 30 minutes until they are deep frozen. The batter is made up in batches, using a batter mix and water. The consistency or thickness of the batter is important, and it's tested by checking how long it takes to flow out of this container through the narrow hole. Too long means it's too thick. Too quickly means it's too thin. This one is just right. Other jobs include topping up the batter applicator, refilling the crumb hoppers, checking the product on the line, general housekeeping, and of course quality control. Once the coated products have been frozen, they're ready for the next stage of the process, weighing. The weight of the product is very important, so every single piece coming out of the freezer is weighed. The coated fish fillets are sorted according to their weight. The scampi pieces are weighed and made up into batches using the weigh head grader. Cleverly, it works out which combination of pieces to drop down the chute into a plastic bag to make up just the right final weight. And that's pretty much it. Just seal the bags, run through a metal detector, batch up into boxes, and then they're ready for the freezer or dispatch. The process involved in making fish cakes is a little different to the one we've just seen. The fish cake mix is 50% minced fish and 50% potatoes and spices, mixed together into a paste. This machine moulds the fish cake into rounds. Unlike the scampi and fish fillets, the fish cake rounds are not frozen at this stage. Because the cakes are slightly wet, an air knife is used to blow off any excess moisture. This batter is quite thin, and as only a very thin coating is needed, another air knife is used to remove any excess batter. A sprinkle of breadcrumbs, or to be more accurate, a flood of crumbs, coats all parts of the fish cake. This vibrating section of the production line removes all the loose material before the fish cakes are flash fried and popped into the freezer, inspected and packed. So there you have it. Whether it's scampi, fish fillets or fish cakes, it's around 3 minutes on the production line, half an hour or so in the freezer, and they're done. We start with frozen seafood, in this case fish fillets, which have been filleted and then frozen in-house. The process is very simple. Take very cold fish fillets, dip them into cold water and freeze a layer of ice around them. These fillets have already been dipped once and passed through this small freezer unit before being dipped and sprayed with a fine mist of cold water to give a thicker layer of ice on their delicate, unskinned sides. In the time it takes them to leave the sprayer and travel down this short conveyor, the ice has frozen. Now they can be packed into boxes and stowed away in the cold store, ready to be sold.